Hey there, Tabletop Glory. My name is Graham Johnson, and welcome to an update video. Now, this is going to be fairly quick because I'm just making this for the algorithm. Now, if you guys are not familiar, the algorithm which runs everything in the background of YouTube really wants you to upload every single week. Now, I did make a promise at the start of this year that if I could put out content every single week, I would put out content. But that if the video was not done and was not in a state that I felt comfortable releasing it in, I would take additional time and make an update video. Now, unfortunately, this update video does need to be at least a minute or two long, so we're going to go ahead and real quick fill you in on what next week's video is going to be. So I am currently working on a Kenku or Aarakocra style bust, as you can see on screen. I'm kind of going for a Raven inspired paint scheme, but I'm taking some liberties with the color scheme to kind of try and make him a little more interesting. Now, I know I could have made him super interesting by going with a paint scheme from something like an eagle or something like that, but I felt like that was kind of just grasping at known straws. I feel like a lot of people, when they paint Aarakocra, kind of go for like eagles or falcons or something like that. And I wanted to take inspiration from Kenku, which are some of my favorite races in D&D, but I didn't want to go directly with crow, which is how I ended up with ravens. Now, if you've never seen raven feathers, they do this absolutely beautiful thing where when the way the light hits it, it kind of shimmers almost blue or green, even though their feathers are actually black. So I'm trying to kind of play off of that with my paint scheme here, which is why in the early parts of next week's video, you're going to see a lot of blue and green getting added to those feathers. It's quite subtle effect once everything's all said and dry, but I do really like how it turns out. In any case, guys, that is what we're working on for next week's video. I've got some really interesting things that I want to do to make the armor kind of pop a little bit more, because it would be a rather flat bust when looking at it straight on. I know for you guys, you get to see it on the rotating display at the end of the video, and that does a really good job at making the feathers kind of pop, but I want something where when it sits in a display case, it's going to make you want to look at it, and then you realize that the feathers really pop. But in any case, that is for future me to work on over the next few days. I have a lot of really fun stuff planned, like War Cradle Studio. They do a game called Wild West Exodus that I think you guys are going to think is really cool. It's kind of a kill team style game where you have two small armies fighting each other, but the game scales up and down really well. If you want to do 1v1s, 2v2s, a team versus a team, multiple teams versus multiple teams, a battle royale of multiple people all kind of going against each other, it does seem to work, and fairly surprisingly well. So if you're not really familiar with Wild West Exodus, I really recommend you look into it. They've got a lot of really cool models for all of their factions. Also, Blood and Plunder. Blood and Plunder is a pirate-based game. It's a historical pirating game, and they've got some absolutely insane, beautiful boats. However, the development team behind Blood and Plunder recognizes that their game is in the exact same scale as Dungeons and Dragons, which means that if you need boats for Dungeons and Dragons, their boats are an excellent source of boats. That said, they are made of resin, so they can be a little bit on the expensive side, but they look really, really nice. I've got a few of those that we'll be working on as well as a ton of traditional models I've got in the works and a bunch of Star Wars stuff. I've even got a B-Wing and a Y-Wing that I think are going to look really cool. The B-Wing, I've got some really cool lighting stuff I want to go ahead and buy to do that up proper, so that'll probably be pretty late on the channel. But in any case, I just want to let you guys know it was coming, just in case you're a big fan of the Star Wars stuff we used to do back when we first started the channel. As always, there's going to be a lot more model train stuff on the way. Right now, things are a little bit on hold. I accidentally purchased the wrong scale switch. Didn't even know that was a thing. My current main line has a switch where the rails are just slightly smaller than the rails on the entire rest of the main line, and if an engine or a car goes over it too fast, it just derails. So I got to get that replaced and get that swapped out, and that's a little bit on hold right now because I'm still in between jobs and I don't want to go and spend money on a switch when I could spend money on gas or food. It's just the way life is sometimes. In any case, thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far in the video, I really do appreciate it. These little update videos are probably going to happen more frequently than some of you may like, but it's just a reality of how the algorithm works. And again, this is an experiment to see if doing a weekly upload, whether it gets a ton of views or not, this is a way of seeing that if I can kind of trick the algorithm into pushing out the actual video every other week. And like I said, if I can put a video out every single week, I will put a video out every single week. In any case, guys, thanks so much for going on this journey with me. I've been Graham Johnson from Tabletop Glory, and may your display case always be overfilled and your pile of shame never run empty. Until next week.